Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from Climate Viewer News at ClimateViewer.com. Whole bunch of news about weather control on a global scale and on a local scale. And we're going to dig into a whole bunch of different topics tonight. Um, but first off, I want to start off with just a personal, let's say, friendly offer. Maybe you guys have heard of this guy, Dutch Sense. Dear Michael, I know we've had our beefs in the past. You know, I've long since forgiven you. But when you say things like this, it makes me go,
So I'm going to be making my own earthquake program. I don't know how long it's going to take or if it'll ever come to fruition when it comes for the public to use, but for myself to use so I can do forecasting publicly again and video without anybody trying to step in or being able to shut it down. As to what it's going to look like, all I can say is that it would be something like Google Earth, but better. And you can move it at all angles and look into the earth and all. I want a bunch of stuff. If I'm going to be making my own, I want it to do a bunch of stuff. And I want to be able to stream to that app, not just to YouTube, not just to Twitch. I want to be able to stream straight up to that app so that you can just open that app. YouTube's down or Twitch is down or whatever, or I'm shut off on social media. I can still go to my app and stream there. Right? So, but that requires me to have an internet connection, which gets me back to the first part of this problem and my shutdowns, which is I'm not being shut down on YouTube and Twitch. This isn't a social media deplatforming. This is denial of service straight up at my house. And it's affecting me and my family and everybody else around me who's seen all this happen. I think I'm doing pretty well
okay,
overall when it comes to the
you guys get the picture.
dealing with.
So if you haven't heard, Dutch has had some problems. And Dutch Sense, two things. If you want a 3D web application to display earthquakes, I'm your guy. I'm probably the only one you're going to be able to find who could create such an app and that you could trust. So you got my number. It's on my website. You got my email, jim at climateviewer.com. My phone number is 803-450-4305. Please, if you guys are able, send this video to Dutch Sense. Let him know. I can make you that app. Don't believe me? Why don't we take a look real quick? And I'll go ahead and just bring up Climate Viewer 3D early because, there's this 3D globe, kind of like Google Earth. What shows earthquakes? Yeah, I think I can do that. Ben had it, Ben done it, open source, can make it. Shows everything you need right there. Earthquakes last week, earthquakes of different magnitudes. We can customize the interface. We can put Dutch Sense all over that thing, and everybody can go and see exactly what happened, where it happened, and not just use the USGS sources. Use every source on the planet. Oh, trigger warning. Trigger warning. I know that had to be tough for a couple of you out there. Just focus on the flat earth behind me. You did not see anything. Okay. That was not a round ish earth looking object. That was, in fact, a mirage. But for everybody else, that's a 3D globe. Yeah, if you go to the surface on this, it's very flat. I've done that video in the past. But um in all honesty, you know, I understand Dutch what you're going through. Been through it myself. Think we both remember that. Um, and I'll throw in an extra one. Not only can I, make your website that you want, I'll do it cheaply. And there's no better hacker ninja out there. So for my birthday, I got something very special that I've always wanted. This you this is a Dotunaki. Absolutely love. I should have made got the video because I had my nephews over and they didn't believe how sharp this thing was. So I filled a milk jug up and went through it like it was butter. But yes, this is what's called a Dotunaki katana. It does not have a Hammond on it. If you don't know what a Hammond is, it doesn't really matter much. Let's just say that boy right there is sharp. Um, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things. Black ray skin with actual silk. So enough about the sidetrack. This thing is beautiful. First in my soon to be very large collection of katanas to replace flat earth behind me. Grave danger, what the hell? Oh, you just turned on me. Oh, you poor guy to believe the earth is flat. Just saw a video of a girl saying the moon was bigger than the earth. Um, I don't believe the earth. Grateful guy. I just got here. Is Jim Lee threatening me? Are you threatening me? No. Promising. Under the Bushido Sama code. Tell only the truth about the weather control. Um, and that's what we're gonna do right now. If you're watching this anywhere else, if you just stumbled into the broadcast, um, please come over to ClimateViewer on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to be part of the live chats that I have every Sunday, you're gonna need to subscribe because guess what? You can't talk. That's just you can't. I changed it because people. It's like 95% of my watchers are not subscribed. Why? It's just a click away. Yeah, don't cut your nose. The thing is sharp. It's damn razor sharp. I'm just warning you. If you ever buy a real katana, you can shave with it. And just like that, you cannot find a sharper website on the internet than climateviewer.com. If you're trying to cut through all the BS on the internet and you want to go straight to the sources, all sources provided, much like the links in this video. And I do ask that you please support this channel. This channel is not getting any support in the last month. It has been a drought, a very deep, dark, dark drought. And that being said, we're going to talk about droughts right off the get go. So, with a brief history of weather control and Hackaday, I thought this was just a fancy article and I really like the picture. I wonder where I got that from. Thank you, Hackaday. I hacked your photo. Nice little history of weather control, links in the details. You can read it. It's just a very quick summary, one of those real quick ones. But you can come over to climateviewer.com and see things like this weather made to order on the Collier's magazine from May 1954 in our newspaper vault. We have that. Cloud seeding. We're about to talk about ground-based cloud seeding generators. And this is what's called a cloud seeding flare tree. And it's not a Christmas tree, clearly, but it's like the weather control equivalent of a Christmas tree. So you can check that video out on there. And they linked a nice little top secret hearing on Operation Popeye on sunshineproject.org. So I know they've been to my website. You've been to my website and you did not even give me credit. You could have just linked Al Williams. Dude. If you read my website and you go through my stuff, you got to at least give me a shout out. Like one link. That's all I'm asking for all these people that write these articles and they use the stuff from my website. Ain't no way in hell you found sunshineproject.org on Wayback Machine without going through my damn website. Because nobody on the internet has linked to that except me. Okay? Al, I'm on to you. Mm, mm, mm. Brings us to our main story, Idaho. So, for those of you who don't know, I have a Telegram chat. And in that Telegram chat, which you can see here, um, a couple people, for if you want to get in on this thing, here I'm going to copy the link. If you use Telegram, you want to be part of the chat because I haven't got around to linking it to any of the you know the websites. It's at Telegram t.me/ClimateViewer chat, all one word. t.me/ClimateViewer chat. You can be a part of the chat. So one of the chatters was talking about Idaho, not Idaho, concept object, Idaho. Samurai viewer. I like it. I like it. Um, welcome to all my samurai viewers. You have behaved. Therefore, you will not be dealt instant death. Just saying. Just saying. Trigger warning. Don't do that to me. No samurai or katana mentions for the rest of live chat. Please behave. You've been warned. All right. Let them talk about it. Idaho hosts cloud seeding workshop to help educate policymakers and resource managers. I do what?
Idaho to suffer through several seasons of very dry skies. They say you can't control the weather. They also say you reap what you sow. What if you could do both? It's something scientists have toyed with for years, kind of helping the hydrological outlook a bit with a little encouragement. This is commonly referred to as cloud seeding, and it's gotten a lot more efficient and practical over the years. The North American Weather Modification Council, they were in Boise today to help educate resource managers, policymakers, and of course, us in the media about how this whole thing works. Joe Paris spoke with one of those water managers about how it does work. Joe?
Well, this isn't new, Brian, and cloud seeding has actually been going on for decades. Locally here in Idaho, it dates back to the 1990s. It was developed as a concept from the 90s until 2003 when it went into practice. And you may not know this, Idaho Power pioneered that locally, and they maintain the programs till this day. Then in 2008, the state of Idaho really started to buy in. So just to be clear, Idaho has a different approach to cloud seeding than other areas of the country. The goal in the Gem State is to create a greater snowpack that eventually melts off in the spring. Snow is the goal here. Rain is the goal in other places. And we spoke with Kayla Golden. She's a leader with the Idaho Department of Water Resources cloud seeding program, and she kind of explains the backdrop of the event today.
I think it's very important that folks become educated on cloud seeding because a lot of folks just don't really know what it is. The science has been evolving for quite some time. Cloud seeding has been occurring since about 1946, but we really didn't prove the conceptual model that it actually works until about 5 years ago. And so now that we've demonstrated.
Pause. So we didn't really prove that it conceptually works till about 5 years ago. Needs a little explanation. So, they actually did something called the Wyoming Weather Modification Pilot Program. And at that experiment, they were trying to prove the scientific efficacy of cloud seeding. Even though cloud seeding was invented in 1949, they still haven't proven that they could get repeatable results. Science is repeatable by others, and has a determined outcome that is predictable. That's never the case with weather modification. So the Wyoming Weather Modification Pilot Program failed miserably, even though it had government funding and all of that. And then they wanted to take a second shot at it. So they had the Snowy project, all capital letters, Snow IE. Project Snowy, or the Snowy project, they claimed success in proving that cloud seeding had efficacy, that it wasn't just voodoo. Okay, I still would argue that you know You want me to buy a statistician? You can have your statistics. I can have my statistics. They can completely contradict each other. Everybody who's ever watched court TV knows this. You got your experts. I got my experts. They totally say the opposite thing. And then it comes down to who do you believe? Well, apparently, Project Snowy, they said it worked. Go figure, right?
Demonstrated through science that it works. There's been a massive growth in interest. Idaho Power is the operator of the program, and then the state and local water users provide funding to support the program. And so I think that three-layer.
The state and local water users provide the funding for Idaho Power doing weather modification in Idaho. Translation: if you pay your water bill in Idaho, you are paying for weather modification. And that is true in almost every that is true in every state in the United States that currently has cloud seeding operations. Fact.
Legged stool, or that mechanism is what has made our program so successful.
All right, so there's some background. How about some of the big questions on this topic? How well does it work? Does cloud seeding have negative impacts? How is cloud seeding used to manage water in the state of Idaho? Well, these are all things that Kayla and other resource managers, they want people to know at home. So first, does cloud seeding work in Idaho?
Absolutely. I would say on average, we have a good 20 years worth of data for our operational cloud seeding programs here in Idaho. And across all basins, we see about an average of 10% increase in our annual precipitation in all basins where we operate. So that's a pretty significant amount of water, especially in times of need when we do have water shortages. Cloud seeding does not generate weather. We can only use the existing weather that's in the sky.
Kind of work to enhance it.
Yes, yeah. So we're essentially working to wring out more water from the sky, water that's already there. We do believe that it is safe. There is not any known environmental impacts of cloud seeding. And the reason for that is because the seeding mechanism that we use, silver iodide, is considered to be inert in the natural environment. So really what we're doing is just enhancing the natural precipitation.
So, Brian, as for many topics, public education matters because as you get into science and weather, some people get a little concerned. And, of course, there are conspiracy theories. So to educate policymakers and resource managers, getting them the facts, it helps empower them in the conversations moving forward.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories you talk about, manipulating the environment and stuff like that. Obviously, that takes some education of certain people to make them really understand what is happening.
Yeah.
Bitch, what do you think I'm doing right now? So... yeah, okay. How many conspiracy channels have been dedicated to cloud seeding? Really? Really? I mean, I don't know of one. I've been doing this for over 15 years. I have never heard a cloud seeding conspiracy theory. Period. It just doesn't exist. But you know what? We might just find one. Let's dig in.
And it is a high-level science thing, so it is interesting.
All right, thanks, Joe.
So I don't know what the hell that is, but let's stop it before it gets out of here. You stop. Just shut up. All right. So they're talking about Idaho cloud seeding. Let's get into it. So what we actually have over here, if I go to history and science, go to geoengineering, weather modification, I quickly type in Idaho, Idaho, Idaho. We come over here and we see this. And I'm going to go to, let's bring up Bing and let's make it 3D for fun because 3D is always better. And let's go full screen. All right. Now, so this is the Idaho cloud seeding project. And what I'm going to do real quick, just to give you a scale, we'll make it black and we'll bring it back. All right. So these are the cloud seeding generators, all these fire markers. How do I know this? Jim, did you just make this up? I mean, how do we know that this is even real? Well, I always put a little info icon right here and you can click that and you can actually see the actual documents that I got those from. As you can see here, Sean Parker, Idaho Power Company's cloud seeding program. And you're going to need to pull it up on Wayback Machine because since I made this map, it's been deleted. But regardless, I actually overlaid this in Google Earth and then just basically put the dots where the dots are. And you can see down here at the bottom, pink pluses are cloud seeding generators operated by Idaho Power Company. And then green ones, the other green dots you see here, are cloud seeding generators that are not operated by Idaho Power. And these black lines over here are flight lines. Okay. So when you look at it, these are flight patterns where they actually do aerial cloud seeding. All the rest of these are ground based cloud seeding generators. If you want to get a close up of one of those, they look like this. So over here on this side, you have the remote cloud seeding generator with its solar panel, satellite communications. It's got its acetylene/propane tank down here at the bottom, solution tanks for the silver iodide and acetone. And it could be, remote controlled from, weather control HQ, where they're putting the silver into the mountain rain and making the frogs gay. And then over here on the other side, it says manual cloud seeding generator. This is more akin to the old school, been around since 1949 when Irving P. Crick invented it. Redneck cloud seeding generator. And it's just basically your big propane bottle with the acetylene, acetone/silver iodide mix on top. And, grandpa comes out here, lights the burner, and up go the seeds. And we'll go back to what this actually looks like again. Back to the Bing maps. And bada bing, bada boom. And you can see that what we have here is these are what are known as orographic cloud seeding generators. They are for sprinkling chemicals up on mountain tops. So they're usually at the base of mountain ranges, like over here. And you can see this entire mountain range is being seeded by all of these out here. So the idea is that you burn the chemicals and then they are carried up into the air and then they dump snow on top of these mountains. All right. So that's why it's called snowpack augmentation. The idea is to create as much artificial snow as possible so that in the springtime, when it melts, it not only provides fresh water to the parched west coast, it also powers their hydroelectric dams, which Idaho Power agreed. I told you it was flat. Just look. look at how flat it is. But dude, you don't realize how big the earth is. That looks flat. All right, we're gonna have a quick. This is your flat earth moment with Jim Lee. We're gonna have a quick little education on this. Yes, that looks pretty darn flat. You know why? Because you are tiny. You are a tiny, tiny person. Let's scroll all the way in here. This is a big ass building. All right. You see the big ass building? That's a big ass building. That's a huge crane. Okay. Just for scale. That's an 18-wheeler. All right. So now we have an idea. Scale matters. But when we look like this, it's looking pretty flattish in every direction except for where those mountains are. But looking pretty flattish. The problem is, bitch, this thing is round. I'm looking at a round object right now. It is a 3D object that, yes, if you get close enough to the surface of a cue ball and you were small enough, I know you're not, you've stated that you're not a flat earther, Grave Danger. We're just doing some simple, explanation. If you get close enough to this big round object, it will appear flat. This is just fact. Let's go out here to the Great Salt Lake. Might as well, right? Let's get really close. And then let's rotate. You can't get much flatter than that, okay? If I turn the mountains off, It's even flatter, okay? Let me turn the terrain off, all right? Flat as a pancake. And this is a round object. You know it's round because I just showed you it was round. It didn't magically get flat when I got close to it. It's just scale, okay? Super flat. And you're looking at a round object, okay? So that in and of itself disproves anybody who says there's no possible way that we could be on a round object. You don't understand how small you are. You don't understand it. Do your research. Moving along. So that's Idaho Power's cloud seeding generators. And I have the original document here, just so you guys know I didn't make this stuff up. Links are in the details. All sources always provided, all day, air day, guaranteed. Show me some love. You know, hey, I appreciate it. You know, I would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, it's a drought over here. Christmas is coming. We broke. Help me out. I'm struggling. Idaho Power Company's cloud seeding program, how the project works. By the way, this was back from 2018. Right here, you know, winter orographic cloud seeding generator. Fun fact: these ground-based cloud seeding generators operate October through March of every single year. Period. So they are wintertime cloud seeding generators. Keep that in mind. And I know this because of the weather modification reports that they have to file with the government. And you can see that basically it's using the updraft side of the mountain to carry chemicals into the clouds to make artificial snow. And this matters because in law, which we're going to get into saying court cases in just a moment, nobody's really been able to sue and win over cloud seeding generators. And they give, you know, this is the Weather Modification Association, you know, all of their programs across the United States and Canada in 2009. Like the Alberta hail suppression, Utah snowpack augmentation, Nevada precipitation augmentation. That means just making it rain. You know, not like stripper making it rain, like actually making it rain. Yeah, I know Dom. Dom found this awesome cloud seeding live map. I found a new version of it, Dom. Storm Fury 101 in chat is Dominic Marama, is the guy who made the weather modification history newspaper vault, which we're going to go to in just a moment. So let's just move along. So back to the 208 guys. Why are we talking to them again? Well, guess what? They had some viewer questions. Dom, you're going to love this part. Oh, there's no sound. Hold on.
It's done, the benefits of it being done garnered a few comments from you, the viewers. And cloud seeding is when planes loaded with the silver iodide fly through the clouds.
Okay, so context. The first video we just watched in the article got a lot of comments. And apparently a whole lot of people were like, WTF, what is this? What is this, you know, voodoo you're doing in our skies? So of course they wanted to answer that. And the question was, anybody ever sued over this?
Where the air temperature is super cooled, which is below freezing. That silver iodide is then released, and that causes whatever water droplets are left in the cloud to freeze, forming snowflakes that hopefully become heavy enough to fall to the ground. Anyway, Al watched the story and texted in this saying, I believe in the 70s, Sun Valley was sued by Utah for cloud seeding. Well, Al, your text message is kind of correct, because I looked into it. I did some research, but we'll start with the parts that are correct. Cloud seeding in the 70s, those two parts. I couldn't find anything, though, about Sun Valley being sued by Utah when it comes to this. However, I did learn that Idaho was involved in a couple of cloud seeding controversies. The first was in the 1970s, when some states referred to cloud seeding as cloud rustling. In February of 1977, the Washington state legislature put an emergency cloud seeding program into play. They were going to rent a DC-3, load it with silver iodide, dry ice, and ammonium nitrate, and they were going to fly this plane into the clouds and scatter these chemicals from March until May of that year. But when Idaho's attorney general at the time, Wayne Kidwell, got wind of it, he threatened a lawsuit. claimed he would go directly to the Supreme Court, saying Washington taking what little water was left in the clouds before they got to Idaho would make the drought worse in the already parched panhandle of the Gem State. Even Governor John Evans got involved, who was worried Idaho wasn't consulted about the plan, and he stopped it from happening with a phone call the day before it was to begin. However, within a week, Evans acquiesced and put a stop to the possibility of a lawsuit. Evans
Damn spineless politicians.
told Kidwell in a letter, basically, look, I was told Washington's cloud seeding would not impact Idaho's weather. Oh, and besides, we might want to do some cloud seeding ourselves someday.
Ah, that.
And we have. Well, the other instance of Idaho being involved in a potential legal battle over cloud seeding was in 2005. Montana believed our cloud seeding program, which Idaho Power had been doing since the 1990s, was stealing rain from their border counties. The Gem State stealing from the Treasure State. Montana also threatened a lawsuit, but nothing much came of it. Montana, they can cloud seed themselves if they want, but a law passed in the 1990s that would allow it also required a $1 million bond and a full-blown environmental study to do that. And they haven't issued a permit to do it since 1993. They did try to lower those requirements a couple of years ago, but it failed in the Montana legislature. Right now, 9 states around the Intermountain West and the Northwest, they use cloud seeding to increase their snowpack.
Facts. Those are facts. Okay. So, yeah, that happened. So if you come back here to the map list and you go back through, and I'll do this very rapidly, with haste and gusto, Walking, this is Walker, that's Colorado. We're going to skip China, Colorado, and Mesa, Colorado. A lot of Colorado. Nevada, we got Idaho's on, and California. And we're skipping past all the radars and all that stuff because that just would be too much fun. Wyoming, weather modification pilot program, mentioned that earlier. And I actually have more to gather, but as you can see here, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, Nevada, California, big time, Texas, big time. Technically, everything west of the Mississippi has cloud seeding projects, whether they're ground based or not. Red is ground based. All of these are not. That one's a snowpack augmentation. Again, snowpack. These are all in Utah. I got a map of the Utah ground based cloud seeding generators. I need to add to the map. But as you can see, big time, all West Coast, and affecting weather downstream. And this goes to the next question, where he briefly mentioned, lawsuits. Well, there have been lawsuits. And if you go to Dominic Marama's weather modification history newspaper vault, link in the details, climateviewer.com/newspapers. Pretty simple. I mean, can't remember that. But in it, we have lots and lots of newspapers. And you can scroll through these for days and get lost in all the beauty that he created. Let me see where we're at. 1930. Let's go to 1954. 47. Shit. That's not right. Just page. Dude. Oh, yeah. Project Skyfire. Good stuff. Irving Langworm. They making it rain. Where are we at? 1950. We got to go to 54. That's 55. Just past it. And boom, there it is. The Collier's Magazine. Weather Made to Order. Which looks eerily just like James Roger Fleming's book, which also looks like our weather modification history logo. Go figure. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. You think? You think there's a coincidence? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Fixing the Sky, the checkered history of weather and climate control. James Roger Fleming. Everybody should own this book. If you're interested in the topic at all, this is a book that you should read. Just saying. Um, and so we've got a lot of that. But he specifically was talking about weather modification lawsuits. And in order to understand the lawsuits that have been happening over cloud seeding, you need to know about the laws. So, of course, I did a deep dive into that and weather modification laws in the United States of America. Link in the details. All the links are. You can actually go and see all of those, including international laws, um, Space Preservation Act, the only law ever to fail in Congress that included the word chemtrails. Oh, that's awesome, Diane. You got the book? Pretty epic. You're gonna love it. It's a really well written book. Um, and then the national laws, the Weather Modification Reporting Act of 1972, and then I go into state by state, all the state laws like California and all of that. But anyway, near the bottom, what you're gonna see is scrolling all the way down, court cases. Now, to my knowledge, this is the only Jack, what spark plug on my face? Are you talking about my unshaven face? Jack really has a boner pick with my, unshaven face. I understand. I understand. But the thing is, I usually don't shave till in the morning because I'm a security guard. And security guards need to be clean shaven. And if I shave tonight, I'm gonna look like shit tomorrow. And then my boss can be like, yo, why you got a gun on your hip? You're in a uniform. But you look like shit. So it's kind of a conflict, you know? Anyway, from my facial lawnmower. For the record, those who don't know, Jack sent me some razors and Scotland. I don't want to call him a Brit again because that was pretty messed up, but pretty sure Jack is Scottish and he really doesn't like it when I don't shave. He reminds me every single broadcast. What do you? Oh Lord, love you, Jack. Remind me, Scottish. Let me know in chat. It was Scotland. Scots are cool. As the grunge look lives on. I'm freaking Kurt Cobain, minus the shotgun in the mouth and the crazy girl. So if you go right here to this weather modification law in the United States, 2006, summary of court cases and principles in tort liability for cloud seeding, you can actually see that it's really tough to sue somebody over this because when you look at what the court has said, that you need a staggering burden of truth before the courts will award damages in weather modification cases. They must be convinced that one, the modification attempt did in fact alter the weather, which not even science can really prove at this point. And two, the modification of the weather was in fact the cause of the plaintiff's damage, and this damage would not have occurred otherwise. Because of nature, the of weather modification problem, these factors can be exceedingly difficult, if not impossible, to prove. That was from a 1968 hearing. Failure to prove the defendant's actions were legal cause for harm suffered by the plaintiffs has been the downfall of most persons seeking judicial relief against weather modifiers. 1974. Failure to demonstrate the linkage between conduct of the defendant and harm to the plaintiff's property remains the major impediment in litigation involving hail suppression and other types of cloud seeding. 1977. Probably a futile effort with his insurmountable proof problems. 1978. With only one exception, Southwest Weather Research, which was a request for an injunction, not a tort case. Plaintiffs to date have been unsuccessful in bearing that burden of proving causation. 1984. Plaintiff's seemingly impossible burden of proving causation. You have to prove that they caused the damage that happened to you. This is the basis of all court cases regarding tort liability. Okay. Not a lawyer, but I read a lot. Okay. The primary reason plaintiffs have, okay, we read that. So this one kind of sums it up the best. An attorney in 1978 wrote, each storm system is individual. It is impossible to ascertain the effect of any modification effort for the very simple reason that a cloud cannot be unmodified and modified at the same time. In 1984, a law student said, despite satellites, computers, and technological wizardry, it is impossible to predict exactly how much rain will fall in a given area at a given time under normal unmodified conditions. Because it is impossible to predict exactly how much precipitation a given cloud would produce in the absence of seeding, it is equally impossible to measure the effect of seeding. So, this legal argument also literally flies in the face of all of the claims from the Wyoming Weather Modification Pilot Program, Project Snowy, that chick who was on the Idaho Power News. Um, they cannot prove that they even made it rain. And you cannot prove that their weather modification did damage to your property. That's a big freaking problem. Um, so the writer of the paper says, in my opinion, these authors were wrong to declare the impossibility of such proof. Proof in tort litigation does not need to be absolute, but only to convince the jurors that the defendant caused harm is more likely, probability greater than 50%, than the defendant did not cause harm. Such a proof should be technically possible. Nonetheless, past cases in the USA show that plaintiffs have not been able to prove that cloud seeding caused her harm. There are several reasons for this apparent insurmountable problem of proving causation. Y'all let me know in chat if I'm nerding out a little too much right here, but I think this matters because everybody wants accountability and to be able to hold these people responsible for what they're doing. So you got to understand where you failed in order to win. Okay? You want to win. Um, In cases during the 1950s and 60s, scientific research had not progressed to the point of being able to prove causation. Problems proving causation in old cases does not necessarily imply that current cases will also fail. Good to know. Um, evidence that water vapor, evidence that proves causation will involve atmospheric physics, thermodynamics, water vapor, liquid, ice, and statistical analysis of cloud seeding experiments. Such evidence will be incomprehensible to jurors and judges because they're ignorant of both physics and statistics. So you gotta cater to the crowd, man. You can't talk in normal ass language. How do you expect to win? That's another big problem. Sounding like a nerd. Most people aren't gonna, they're not gonna get it. Okay. Incidentally, this is a common problem in tort cases involving science, technology, or medicine. In my opinion, courts in the USA have not found a satisfactory way of handling scientific evidence. Indeed, courts in the USA have avoided evaluating scientific evidence until the landmark June 1993 U.S. Supreme Court decision in Daubert. Scientists who are experts in weather modification may be more sympathetic to the defendant cloud seeder than the injured plaintiff. So it may be difficult for plaintiffs to find credible expert witnesses to testify on their behalf. Cloud seeding procedures produces a small perturbation, perhaps 10% extra rainfall as a result of cloud seeding, of a phenomenon that has a much larger natural fluctuations. Without a complete understanding of the physical processes in the cloud and measurement of all relevant parameters, one can accurately predict the effect of cloud seeding on a single cloud. One cannot accurately predict that. Because we lack a complete understanding and because we lack adequate data, we currently only know the effect of cloud seeding by statistical comparison of large number of seeded and unseeded clouds. However, attorneys and defendants, cloud seeder will likely object to statistical evidence and demand only evidence that is restricted to the actual clouds involved in the case. This is the important part. I hope I haven't lost you yet. Have I lost anybody? Because this is where it gets good. Here's how to win. Okay? In cases where the plaintiff alleges that cloud seeding caused a flood from one particular cloud, problems with proving causation prevent plaintiff from succeeding in tort. The only way I see for plaintiffs to make such proof at the time that the rain causes the flooding to collect rainwater in specific bottles that are free from metallic impurities, then later, after damage claim, have rainwater analyzed in a chemical lab that could detect concentrations of silver in rainwater as small as 0.01 nanograms per cubic centimeter. Collection of such evidence by flood victims is impractical. However, it could be practical for technicians at a government agency to collect such rain samples routinely during cloud seeding programs. A government regulation or statute might specify the collection of such samples and the retention of samples for at least 2 years after rainfall. I don't know who's mentioned something like that. Who do you think's mentioned something like that? Oh, wait, maybe me. That we should collect rainfall samples to actually catch people doing weather warfare and help people prove liability. And that is why it's called the Environmental Modification Accountability Act at climateviewer.com/nmod. In cases where the plaintiff alleges that cloud seeding caused a drought, there may be statistical evidence that may be useful to the plaintiff. Scientific research involving hundreds of clouds, half of which were randomly chosen to be seeded, the other half remain in a natural state, having provided statistical blah 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 blah. But it goes on to say that there's a whole nother uh, method to this, which involves dealing with floods. Okay, now proving floods is a whole nother thing. So here's the winning medicine, and this is for me to you for free. Try it yourself. If Idaho Power creates artificial snow on top of a mountain, and in the springtime that melts, and then water coming from the mountains floods your, municipality, you got them by the gonads, because they've already admitted that their intention was October through March of every single year to create artificial snow. And if you hear, and you will, especially now that you watch this video, if you've made it this far, if you hear somebody saying that flood waters were abnormally large due to the abnormally large snowpack last year, then you know that weather modification, that cloud seeding, that snowpack augmentation put more snow up there than was necessary. It ended up melting and flooding neighboring communities, and you can sue them and win that all day, every day, twice on Sunday. That's the reason why I went through all of that. Okay, so on to the next thing. And here we go. What is artificial rain? Here's how cloud seeding fared in the United Arab Emirates, China, and Russia. This one's going to need a little bit of clarification. So, another use. Okay, thank you for having a proper Zoom. Moving along. So I've talked about the United Arab Emirates Rainfall Enhancement Program, UAE REP. They're basically throwing money at anybody. They're taking their oil money and they're saying, "Hey, if you can make it rain in the desert, we want that." So that's propped up a whole lot of companies like Weather Generator, Climate Control Global Trading LLC, both of which claim to use electromagnetic waves to modify weather, along with every single cloud seeder on on the planet. Weather Modification Incorporated has a branch called Weather Modification International, which is using nanoparticles of graphene and silicon dioxide um, to cloud seed. So now they're not just using silver iodide anymore. The UAE is trying everything from drones shooting electricity out the back of them. It's called cloud ionization to every manner of chemical. You can see all of that in previous videos. Look up graphene rain. I talks all about it, and I mentioned the people who are doing it by name. Artificial rain in China. Now, of course, this is kind of funny because this is on businesstoday.in, which I'm assuming is India. What'd you make me click on, bro? I'm in the middle of a video here. Mayor says cloud seeding mist resort hit town. Dominic, I need that one. We need that one in the newspaper vault. Yeah, this is a good live one right here for you guys. Storm Fury 101, aka Dominic Rama, newspaper guru extraordinaire, just sent me this, and it's in Idaho. Oh Lord, I should send this to those people. You can't make this up. Boise, Idaho. A southern Idaho mayor charges cloud seeding designed to boost snowpack at Sun Valley ski. That was what the story was about. Is this in the 70s? Tell me this is the 1970s. This is 85. Okay. Bro, that is exactly what he was. That's what that dude would be talking about. That was exactly what he was talking about. Sun Valley Ski Resort. Wow. You the man, Dom. You've been plugging away at Google newspapers this entire time, haven't you? And I know it says books.google.canada. .ca. I love you, bro. Good job. Bravo. Way to interrupt my fucking broadcast, Dom. But that's great. That's absolutely great. I should comment that right away. In fact, nah, I'm not gonna do that while we're live. That would be rude. I'll wait till afterwards, and then I'll go back to their little article and I'll comment that on below. So let me make sure I'm gonna copy your. Well, I'll just give them straight. Moving along. So one of the most famous examples of artificial rain was during the 2008 Olympics when China, to prevent rain over Beijing's open air 91,000 seat Olympic Stadium, known as the Bird's Nest, the city's division of the National Weather Modification Office, part of larger China Meteorological Administration. Initially, Beijing Weather Modification Office monitored the area's weather using satellites, aircraft radar, and the IBM P575 supercomputer, capable of doing really fast operations. This supercomputer accurately models a 44,000 square kilometer area, enabling hourly forecasts for every kilometer. Subsequently, employing 2 aircraft and a network of 20 artillery and rocket launch sites around Beijing, the city's weather engineers will deploy silver iodide and dry ice into approaching clouds that are still sufficiently distant, allowing their rain to be dispersed before reaching the stadium. Finally, if rain-heavy clouds come close to the bird's nest, they will be treated with chemicals to reduce droplet size. How about liquid nitrogen? They don't say that in here. Preventing rainfall until the clouds have passed over. That's called overseeding. That's how you make a drought. That is exactly what China was doing. They were demonstrating their ability to create a drought, drought-like conditions to stop rain. Back in 1958, the Chinese initiated experimental weather modification, blah, 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 in the Gobi Desert, and the rest of this is all garbage. The reason I even brought this up is because I thought it was kind of funny. So they mentioned, all this about Beijing and China and how they were going to flex on everybody, that they were able to control the weather. There weren't, we made the stadium open. It doesn't have a roof on it, but we can stop the rain, surely. But, that's the thing about history. Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. And unfortunately for them, I kept the receipt. So if I go here and I type in Olympics, you come to right here and you see Chinese weather modification at Beijing Olympics. And if you click on that, then you're going to end up here. And if you end up here, you can go to this video right here in the middle. Let me mute because I don't want to strike. All right, that's mute. So here we go. Let's do it. Did it work? That's the question. Were they able at the Beijing Olympics to stop the rain? You tell me. What do you see? Because I see a whole bunch of people with umbrellas and ponchos. So, what the article fails to mention is, despite all the efforts of the Chinese government to stop the rain from happening, these are video. That is not smoke coming from those tires. That is rain on the road. Everybody got wet. Everybody got wet. You cannot lie with this video. The video is clear as day. It is pouring rain. I mean, that damn baseball field is shiny from all the rain. Okay? That's how much rain. Nothing you can do about it. Weather control is an illusion. And those who pursue it, they tend to fail. And when they fail hard. But yes, that is all the rain they said they were going to stop, but were completely unable to. I think I've made my point on that. And on a totally different case, we're going to go to this. Artificial rain and cloud seeding in Delhi, India, won't work as ineffective as smog tower, says expert. So, Delhi and India and New Delhi are having a serious smog problem. So it's been put forward the idea that you could use cloud seeding to then make it rain, and that rain would get the pollution out of the air, and that would save a whole lot of people from breathing a whole lot of smog. However, on November 20th, subject to weather conditions, a 6-seater Cessna plane will fly over Delhi sky, introducing the said chemicals into the clouds of the Delhites. Much needed respite from air pollution. How'd that go? Let's say not too good. Oh Lord, that's terrible. This is in Delhi. Hazardous. 406. Woo! I would not want to be breathing that air. And as you scroll in here, you can see everything from purple, which is very unhealthy, to the rusty red. Rust red is the worst of all, and these are up at 406. These are typically PM 2.5, which means particulate matter of a 2.5 micron size. We really don't have good sensors for nanoparticles. They're just really expensive and they're not widely available. But if you go to the World Air Pollution Real Time Air Quality Index website, you can look at any given time and see what the air quality is like. So yeah, smog problem is still be there. And as you zoom out in the area, what you realize is that's a whole lot of yellow, orange, red, purple, and rust. So everything from moderate to unhealthy, or sensitive groups to unhealthy, very unhealthy, and freaking hazardous. Anything that looks rust red like this, freaking hazardous. And of course, the same is true for China. God forbid you have to live in China. Worst place to breathe on the planet, period. You can't argue with the numbers. They're always that bad every day, all day, air day, 3 times on Sunday. Oh, what's this? This is America. Why is it's just a sea of green? Beautiful. Despite the chemtrails, pretty good air, unless you're talking about up here in Alberta, Canada, Canada, Canada. Interesting side note, real quick. So, Justin Trudeau just passed some law about information sharing on the internet. And basically, Dominic I shared a article from the American Meteorological Society on Facebook to my Facebook wall. And then I commented on it with a link to the original cloud seeding was invented post from Weather Modification History. And then Dominic tried to comment on that and it would not allow him to. And then he tried to share it and it would not allow him to. And Facebook said Canadian laws prohibit you from sharing official news sources from any other country in the world. Canada has officially become China. Thank you, Justin Trudeau. You son of a bitch. So everybody, I want you, if you're the praying type, pray for Canada. Pray they get rid of Jesse Trombone as soon as possible, because from the truckers to today, it's gotten nothing but worse, and I don't see it going well for Canada, free speech, or a free internet up there. Nobody's talking about that. So, oh Lord, advertisement hell. Skipping past that. So, some of you may have caught this previous video I did, bring back ship tracks, and about how scientists were talking about, well, we'd really like our ship tracks back because they were really doing a good job of geoengineering the planet. If you don't know what ship tracks are, they are basically chemtrails over the Pacific Ocean created by burning bunker fuel. They want that back. So I found these two papers. This one from 2022 is a previous paper, Global Reduction in Ship Tracks from Sulfur Regulations for Shipping Fuel. They don't like it. They don't like it none. But then they came out with this one, which is very much to the point. Substantial radiative warming by inadvertent geoengineering experiment from 2020 fuel regulations. That banning bunker fuel in 2020, my volume's too low, or the TV thing? Because my volume's fine. That's, you turn your volume, not me. You, not me. You. So inadvertent, accidental, same word. It was an accident, So it wasn't accidental geoengineering when they were making the ship tracks, but it's now accidental geoengineering when they banned the bunker fuel, and now there's less ship tracks, so that magically became a problem. And it's now the lack of ship tracks is accidental geoengineering. Got it. Now, see, now I'm hearing it's not the volume, it's intermittent sound glitches. Is my mic just too far away from my face? Because I fixed this last video and people were saying, hey, you're kind of clipping in and out. That should not be the case anymore. So I'll like move this really, really, really freaking close. Like I was trying to keep it off camera, but I can move this like right up. I can put this in my nose. Can everybody hear me just fine now? Because I thought that the audio was good. You go and you buy a freaking Shure mic. I got the same mic that freaking everybody has. Everybody's got this mic. Okay, should be fine. It's supposed to be one fist from your mouth. So I don't want, I don't like that. I'm putting it back. Everybody can hear me fine? Good. Moving along. So this was me talking junk about HARP, space junk, and the ESG debt bubble. Oh, Lord. Hold on. I had it on the right spot, but apparently it moved. It moved, and I don't mean in that way, you dirty-minded people. Back a little bit. Okay, yeah, that. So, bankers seek legal cover after backing $1.5 trillion of environmental sustainability government debt. That these sustainably linked loan market is a debt bubble. Okay. And it's a big problem. It's something that's flying under the radar. People don't want you to know about it. But basically, all of these corporations have been, getting that BlackRock money and taking out all of these loans in the name of sustainability or environment or social, DEI stuff, all of that. The problem is they got to be able to prove that they're actually doing something sustainable, something that actually has value, because the regulators are coming. The regulators are coming for their ass. Astrid Johnson, oh my, I just found you. Please help Dutch. Hey, I put it out there. If Dutch wants to reach out to me, because we've gone quite a while since we've last spoken, I will gladly make him a open source 3D globe with earthquake, monitoring from every source on the planet, and it will be the tightest looking earthquake monitoring website with built-in chat and all that. I can build that. Furthermore, because like I said earlier, I am not only a website designer, I am a hacker. And hacker cut through firewall like butter. That I can secure his network, and any kind of internet problems he's having will go away. Don't believe me? Ask Quite Frankly. QuiteFrankly.tv. Tomorrow night, I will be on QuiteFrankly.tv. So if you guys want to tune into that, Quite Frankly is available on BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, YouTube, everything. Just go to his website, QuiteFrankly.tv, and you can see one of the best shows on the internet. It's available Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. And I built Frank's server that his computer that he uses to broadcast, and I secure it. I make sure the hackers don't interrupt the great, Quite Frankly. So if Frank trusts me, hey, Michael, maybe you should give it a chance, because there ain't a hacker out there that's bugging with your system that I can't put a stop to, if that's what's really going on. Offers on the table. You guys let him know. Tell him about this video. Offers real. I mean, I still respect the guy. Bottom line. Back to the story. So ESG debt. Well, guess what? There is another, little dirty secret to this, and it's called debt for nature swaps. So meanwhile, while we're all busy dealing with all the lunacy of the world, war in the Middle East, everything crazy just going on, they're also doing this. Once fashionable in the 1980s following Latin America's debt crisis, debt for nature swaps are reemerging as a solution to economic crisis caused by the pandemic. So, what is a debt for nature swap? I'm not going to read all this to you, but a good infographic, it goes a long way. Okay. So, how do bilateral debt for nature swaps work? US 1 million of debt is canceled. The debtor government, the creditor government cancels or reduces the debt owed by a debtor government. An agreed amount, for example, US $200,000 that would have otherwise serviced the debt is earmarked for environmental projects. So this is another one of those, hey, you owe me money, but I'll tell you what, if you go and do some ESG project, or you do some, Green New Deal ish, build back better stuff, we'll forgive a portion of your debt, but you got to do that. Then it gets even more complicated. A trilateral debt for nature swap. An NGO purchases is a hard currency debt owed to a creditor government at a discounted rate, for example, 80% reduced. BlackRock. It then renegotiates the debt with the debtor country, which agrees to fund conservation projects, still at a discount. The debtor country mobilizes the agreed funds, for example, $300,000 in local currency for conservation projects. Okay. Why does any of this matter? Because I ran across this article, which I'm not going to read to you. It would take this Southern gentleman way too long, but I think that you guys will probably find it very interesting. It's from November 19th, 2023. Greenwashing bond scams and financializing Mother Nature. Climate science fiction versus local reality. And it's specifically about Sri Lanka. And it gives a case study of how the United Nations and the climate catastrophe people and odious debt all combined to screw Sri Lanka. So if you look, the Anthropocene global boiling narrative and all of that, there is a part 1 and a part 2 to this. Climate justice needed, not financializing Mother Nature and greenwashing odious debt part 2. You guys have got to read this because given the critique that of odious debt accumulated as a result of private capital market borrowing and corrupt and opaque bond trading attempts are ongoing to simultaneously greenwash the bond business and deepen debt traps in the name of environment conservation, debt for nature swaps, green and blue bonds, or environmental social governance. That's a mouthful. But damn, if you're a nerd like me and you hate the green agenda and you really want to dig deep into what's going on behind the news, in the financial sectors, what's driving the engine of climate change, what it's really about, what you're going to see, especially highlighted in this case study of Sri Lanka, is how they are basically leveraging countries to, act a certain way while using all these financial instruments to make buku dollars. And, I said it, but, I guess you need to read it for yourself. It's right there. Apparently, this is not a very friendly website to mobile. However, it is well established that the largest proportion of odious debt was accumulated due to borrowing from predatory hedge funds like BlackRock and JP Morgan that caused the island's first sovereign default. Was during the United National Party regimes, and Ranil Wickremesinghe was finance minister and prime minister. Moreover, Sri Lanka's first ever sovereign default was the largest part, in large part, staged last year amid distracting Aragalia protests, remote controlled through foreign internet platforms, and caused the shadowy Hamilton Reserve Bank courts case in New York. The odious debt and reputation damage to the CBSL, the island's highest financial institution, by the 2015 Eurobond scams on the watch of the prime minister are not addressed in the case. The case is clearly politically motivated, although hence the outcome biased. Right there, in a nutshell. And you can see this in both of these articles. BlackRock, JP Morgan, odious debt is debt owed by a previous administration that the current administration's like, we don't freaking owe that. Okay? Just most redneck version of what odious debt is. That they are using their, their financial instruments to cause a default, that the island's first sovereign default. Now, for those who don't know what that means they were not able to pay their bills, their debts. And when you can't pay your debts, your money goes to crap. And when your money goes to crap, you can't trade for anything. You have hyperinflation. That is exactly what they're trying to do to America right now. If you do not believe or understand this, you do not understand how globalist, billionaire, banker bastards work. That through, as Larry Fink put it, forcing behavior, that they could basically strip America dry, basically causing all this hyperinflation that we currently have in the name of the green agenda, in the name of global boiling, in the name of climate change. That no amount of pain, monetarily or otherwise, is too much, because we need this or we will die. The problem with that kind of thinking is the debt is more likely to kill you than global warming is. Because when America defaults, your money will be completely worthless. And you can bet your ass I'm going to be pointing back at this video when it happens, if it happens, that digital dollar that comes out afterwards will be the death of all privacy and freedom and liberty. That's why you need to be an avid climate viewer and keep your eye on the big picture. That's why I take this so seriously. Not only are they trying to hijack the skies, to geoengineer the planet, to block out the sun to save us from global boiling, even though we're headed into a grand solar minimum, even though all predictions say it's going to get cooler. But guess what? When their climate clocks run out in 2029, just in time for Agenda 2030, just in time for the grand solar minimum in 2030 and 2031. If people believe the propaganda, they will legalize geoengineering. They will deploy chemicals in your face, not just on the DL like they've been doing. It will be open. It'll be on CNN. It'll be on Fox News. It'll be on all of the mainstream media. The government is now spraying chemicals to block out sunlight because global warming is so dangerous. And guess what will happen? It will cool. And the people in Congress, the president, they will all take a victory lap and say, look, we saved the planet from global warming. But guess what? It was going to cool off anyway. The scary part is what happens when they pull off this verbal ninjutsu and they start geoengineering. They do their victory lap. And then during that solar minimum, a bunch of volcanoes go off. Global food shortages, many other things. Now, GSM's not exactly my cup of tea. I don't cover it every single day, but I'd like to highly suggest my friend David Devine, Adapt 2030 YouTube channel, ADAPT 2030 YouTube channel. Go subscribe to him. Tell him Jim Lee sent you. Another good friend for a very long time and an expert on the topic. So I will defer to him. Go check him out. But that's what I see as the big agenda going on right now. Crashing people's dollars, running up debt that is unsustainable, trying to force behavior. Nobody's buying electronic vehicles. Why do you think there was, all of this fighting between the United Auto Workers and the manufacturers, and the manufacturers have finally said, to hell with it. Let Elon make his damn Teslas because they're not buying ours. Nobody's buying this crap. People don't want smart cars. They want cars that go fast cheaply. And guess what? Freedom is a gasoline powered engine right now. Period. So yeah. Look at the big picture. Realize that there are many other things that we don't even have considered. These are new things to me. Okay. So, debt for nature transfers, swaps, sustainably linked loans, and the whole greenwashing debt bubble. All of these could take the economy down just as quickly as the Silicon Bank or the 2008 banking crisis. Bankers are just really good at destroying the entire world in a night. So keep that in mind, and be prepared. That is your weather modification news for 11/19/2023. I will see you again next Sunday with a whole bunch of other news. Believe it or not, we're at an hour and 20 minutes, and I had probably 45 other news articles that happened just within the last week. I had to pick a couple to try to, have some kind of narrative flow. I don't want to just scatterbrain or just read you, you know, article titles, but we got we got some cloud seeding, we got some lawsuits, how to deal with the lawsuits, how to win a lawsuit against the weather modifiers, how China bullshitted their way through the whole Beijing Olympics thing. The ship tracks, they want them back. They definitely want them back. So expect bunker fuel. And the Green New Deal. And the New Deal is your green will be worthless. That is, if the case study that I just read about Sri Lanka pertains to America, America, we're all screwed. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But, like I said, prepare for the worst. And that is our show for tonight. Thank you so much for you guys staying up late with me. I will be on Quite Frankly tomorrow. Please tune in. Quite Frankly.tv is his website. And from there, you can pick your viewing platform. Frank has offered me numerous times to do a syndicated show on his network on Tuesdays. I'm in a, work mode to try to make that happen. I actually had somebody from the High Wire with Del Bigtree reach out to me the other day. Might be doing something with them in the near future. Haven't got that call back yet, but hey, they just reached out Friday. So hope that happens. That'd be pretty epic. And other big things to come. Always planning something new and always better. So with information comes power. With power comes great responsibility. So don't be a conspiratard. Get your, feces consolidated. Have your reference links available. Know what the hell you're talking about and attack ideas, not people. Please donate because, Christmas is coming up. You know. Love you, mean it. If this video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.